10 most gifted prophets in the world. Vanga. Vanga was a Bulgarian prophet, born on January 31, 1911, with the birth name Vangelia Pandeva Dimitrova. Orphaned at a young age and living with villagers due to her father's military service, Vanga was intelligent, charming, and had a talent for herbalism. At the age of 12, she was swept away by a sandstorm, surviving but losing her sight. After losing her sight, she began to exhibit prophetic abilities. Vanga made her first prediction at the age of 16, accurately revealing the location where thieves had hidden a neighbor's flock. Growing up in poverty and blindness, Vanga couldn't attend school and remained illiterate. All her predictions were recorded by relatives. According to Vanga, she could see invisible beings that informed her about the past and future of those she encountered. However, she emphasized that she could only see the future and had no ability to alter it. Accurate predictions by Vanga include the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk. Kursk will be covered by water, and the whole world will mourn for it. This prediction was made in 1980, 20 years before the Kursk sank, resulting in the loss of the entire crew. In 2000, the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the US. Terrible, terrible. The brothers in America will fall after being attacked by steel birds. Wolves will howl in the bushes, and innocent blood will be shed. This prediction was made in 1989. Vanga also accurately predicted Stalin's death, the Chernobyl disaster, the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Princess Diana's death, and many other predictions verified by those who sought her insight into the future. Vanga passed away on August 11, 1996, leaving behind numerous predictions for the world, and people are still waiting to see the accuracy of these prophecies. Nostradamus. Nostradamus was a French prophet, born on December 14, 1503, and died on July 2, 1566, the youngest of 9 siblings. Nostradamus displayed intelligence from a young age, gifted in natural sciences and herbalism. Nostradamus faced difficulties in his education due to the closure of his first university, because of the plague and expulsion from the second. For violating rules, his knowledge of herbalism was largely self-taught. After being expelled, Nostradamus continued herbal research, got married, and had children. Unfortunately, both his wife and 2 children succumbed to the plague. After their deaths, Nostradamus traveled extensively, and many believe he transitioned from herbal research to the spiritual realm during a trip to Italy. Nostradamus published the book Centuries, containing 4-line verses with his predictions about the future, arranged in clear chronological order. The book was first printed in 1555 and reprinted in 1557 and 1558, each with corrections. Accurate predictions by Nostradamus include the Great Fire of London in 1666, the blood of the just, will be demanded of London, burnt by the fire in the year 66. The ancient lady will fall from her high place. Many of the same sect will be killed. This fire lasted 3 days and nights, turning over half of London into ashes. The death of King Henry II. The young lion will overcome the older one on the field of combat in a single battle. He will pierce his eyes through a golden cage. 2 wounds made one. Then he dies a cruel death. King Henry was fatally wounded in a jousting match and died from an infected wound. Adolf Hitler, from the west of Europe. A child will be born to poor parents. He who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. His fame will increase towards the realm of the East. Hitler, considered the most evil dictator in history, initiated the genocide against Jews and was known for his persuasive oratory skills. Nostradamus also correctly predicted many other events, such as World War II, the US bombing of Japan, human landing on the moon, and the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was born on March 18, 1877, and passed away on January 3, 1945. He was an American prophet following the Christian tradition, and was also known as the sleeping prophet. Edgar, born into a farming family, exhibited unusual abilities from a young age, such as seeing departed souls, seeing through objects, and memorizing a book after reading it once. These abilities made it challenging for him to make friends and connect with those around him. At the age of 15, Edgar left home to start an independent life. At 21, Edgar suddenly lost his voice, and no doctor could cure him. A year later, he encountered a hypnotist named Hart, who cured him. After undergoing hypnosis therapy, Edgar discovered a new strange ability, the ability to predict the future. While in a hypnotic state, he could answer questions about the future or diagnose illnesses for others. Thanks to this special talent, Edgar quickly became famous, with thousands seeking his help or insights into the future. Edgar's abilities were so strong that he could foresee events for people thousands of miles away, without meeting them directly. In a hypnotic state, Edgar had an assistant to record his predictions, resulting in around 15,000 documented readings. Edgar Cayce's predictions were clear and direct. Unlike the ambiguous or symbolic predictions of Vanga or Nostradamus, some accurately predicted events include the death of U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The next president will not live through his term in office. President Roosevelt passed away due to a stroke in his office in 1945. The collapse of the Nazi regime. The collapse would come from within or through an external war. In 1945, the Nazi regime officially collapsed under the strong attacks from the Red Army and Allied forces. Global warming. Cold or near polar regions will warm up, and moss and fern species will proliferate. Earth's temperature is gradually rising, leading to climate change and various negative consequences. In addition, Edgar Cayce also predicted the rise of China in the 21st century, the development of spirituality, new methods of healing, and more. Wolf Messing. Wolf Messing, full name Wolf Messing Grigorovich, was a Russian psychic and prophet. Messing was also known for his extraordinary hypnotic abilities. He was born on September 1, 1899. And passed away on November 8, 1974. From a young age, Messing displayed exceptional intelligence and powerful psychic abilities. He could read the thoughts of others through their body language. Similar to the other prophets mentioned, Messing did not have a typical childhood. He experienced loneliness early on and began a vagabond life. At the age of 11, throughout his life, Messing traveled through various countries, including Russia, Germany, and Poland. During his time in Germany, Messing utilized his prophetic and hypnotic abilities to perform in circuses, quickly gaining fame. Many sought Messing to hear his predictions. In one performance, Messing made a prediction: if Hitler redirects his attack to the east, he will be defeated. This prediction angered Hitler, leading him to order Messing's pursuit throughout Germany. Messing fled to Poland to escape Hitler's wrath. History later proved Messing's prediction correct. After redirecting the attack to the east towards Russia, Hitler's army was defeated by the Soviet Red Army. After arriving in Poland, Messing continued to escape, this time to Russia, where he met Joseph Stalin, the supreme leader of the Soviet Union at the time. Despite Stalin's initial skepticism about Messing's psychic abilities, Messing successfully passed several tests and gained Stalin's trust. Messing even saved Stalin's son, Vasily Stalin, by preventing him from boarding a military plane that later exploded, resulting in the death of all passengers. Messing accurately predicted Russia's victory over the fascist forces, foretelling to Stalin, "I see Russian tanks hoisting flags and marching on the streets of Berlin." Messing remained in Russia, dedicating his life to researching spiritual and hypnotic phenomena until his death. Many of Messing's predictions were not fully documented and were lost during wartime or deliberately kept secret by the Russian military. Nevertheless, the Russian government acknowledged Messing's exceptional psychic abilities. Emanuel Swedenborg. In Sweden, there was another famous future seer, Emanuel Swedenborg. Emanuel Swedenborg was a renowned Swedish scientist known for his ability to travel to heaven and hell. He was born in 1688 and died in 1772. Possessing profound knowledge in various fields, including science, astronomy, religion, mathematics, history, geology, oceanography, biology, mechanics, weaponry, and shipbuilding, he is considered the scholar of the 18th century. In one incident, Swedenborg startled his family during dinner when he abruptly exclaimed, "A great fire is happening in Stockholm." Stockholm is his hometown. Remarkably, Swedenborg was approximately 500 kilometers away from Stockholm at that time. Using his divine eyes, Emanuel even knew how far the fire had spread, accurately describing the extinguishing process and sighing with relief when he saw the fire being put out just a few houses away from his residence. Jean Dixon, the prophetess. The United States is the homeland of a renowned woman in the field of future prediction, Jean Dixon. At the age of 14, the young prophet Jean accurately predicted the fate of the famous movie star of that time, Carole Lombard. She foresaw that this Hollywood star would experience a plane crash in 1942, leading to her death. Consequently, she advised Carole to cancel her flight in that month, predicting an imminent plane explosion. However, Carole did not believe and decided to flip a coin to make the decision. If the coin landed heads, she would cancel. If tails, she would proceed with the original plan. The coin landed tails, and Carole continued her flight. On January 6, 1942, returning from Indiana on ATWA Skysleeper, her plane, along with 21 other passengers and the crew, crashed into Table Mountain in Nevada. This tragic accident claimed Carole's life and those of all on board. Jean's prophecy about the misfortune of the famous actress Carole became a chilling reality. Despite her ability to foresee the future, she couldn't alter the destiny of the individual. Moreover, this prophet accurately predicted the assassination of President Kennedy, the death of President Franklin Roosevelt, and the fact that British Prime Minister Winston Churchill would not be re-elected in the 1945 elections. Not stopping there, she also precisely predicted that UN Secretary-General Dag Hammarskjöld would die in a plane crash, and that 3 NASA astronauts would perish in a ground accident. Jean's predictions proved true. When Dag Hammarskjöld had a plane crash in northern Rhodesia, Zambia, in September 1961, the remaining event involved astronaut Gus Grissom, who participated in NASA's early space programs, including Mercury, and 2 astronauts in the Apollo program. They tragically lost their lives in a fire during a simulation on January 27, 1967. Lewis Hamon, the palmistry prodigy. Lewis Hamon, 1866 to 1936, known as Chero in the field, was born in a suburb of Dublin, Ireland, in 1866. Before turning 20, he left for Mumbai, India, where he learned palmistry from a Brahmin sage and underwent 3 years of training with a guru. Afterward, he travelled to Egypt. At 24, Lewis Hamon returned to London and started his career as a prophet, quickly gaining fame. By the age of 27, he had studied over 6,000 hands. He toured the United States, delivering lectures everywhere. His reputation soared when he whispered to death row inmate H. Meyer that he wouldn't be executed. And the day before the scheduled execution, H. Meyer was transferred from death row to life imprisonment. Apart from individual palm readings, Lewis Hammond predicted major events like World War I, the communist revolutions in Russia and China, the return of Jews to establish Israel, and the re-election fate of European monarchs, including the kings of Belgium and Italy, and King Edward VII of England. In 1930, Hammond moved to Hollywood, where he lived until his death in 1936 on Hollywood Boulevard, leaving behind several books on palmistry research. Maria Lenormand, the unusual prodigy. Maria Adelaide Lenormand, born in 1772 in Alençon, Paris, France, was one of the peculiar natural-born prophets. Her unusual appearance at birth, with long dark hair and a mouth full of teeth, terrified her parents and relatives. At the age of 6, Maria Lenormand began manifesting her predictive abilities. When sent to the convent of the Daughters of Charity, she predicted that the Mother Superior would leave her position and marry a wealthy man, which indeed happened as foretold. In 1793, Maria's small room unexpectedly welcomed the presence of Robespierre, Marat, and Saint-Just, 3 famous leaders of the French government during the post-monarchy era. Maria predicted that all 3 would meet extremely tragic deaths. Later, Marat was fatally shot by Charlotte Comte, and the 2 companions were beheaded a year later. She also predicted that Josephine would become the Queen of France, and accurately foresaw the glorious life and tragic fate after the age of 40 of King Napoleon. Juscelino, the mysterious seer. Juscelino, born in March 1960 in Maringá, Paraná, Brazil, is a teacher of English who resides peacefully with his wife and 4 daughters in the outskirts of São Paulo. Since the age of 9 in 1969, he has displayed extraordinary abilities. In his dreams, he can see 3 to 9 events, and he attributes these dreams to involuntary extrasensory perception. He lacks control over these dreams. Juscelino predicted numerous events and disasters worldwide, including the 9/11 attacks, the 2003 Iraq War, the downfall of President Saddam Hussein, the arrest and trial of Saddam Hussein, the 2004 earthquake and tsunami in the Indonesian archipelago, the tragic death of Princess Diana, and the passing of Pope John Paul II in 2005. These exceptional prophets, each with their unique talents, have left an indelible mark on history. Perhaps they are waiting for answers from scientists regarding their supernatural abilities.